thank you for sharing your work. It was really powerful and impactful. I'm curious about how you navigated the emotional space of your sources and also your own personal emotional space. You sort of answered that a little bit in the last question, but yeah, I'm curious how you navigated that.
I get very close to my sources. The ethics in it and like the how close you get to them was, sort of this line that you had to think about, not every day, but like every hour. And, seeing a 60-year-old woman not taking a ride because she wants somebody with a kid to take a ride and she's just going to keep walking. And I have a car and a driver and I can't give that woman a ride. So, kind of dealing with that and, remember, okay, like story first. And, so that was just like, on my mind all the time. And I still struggle with that. I don't always know if I made the right choices. So that emotionally is hard for me, but I share everything. I just talk to everybody. So I'm always kind of, letting it out.
So I'm still figuring this out with regard to every story that I do. I was just in the Bahamas and it was incredibly, just awful. And it's something that I'm constantly trying to learn how to process. I think a lot of the ethical problems that are, challenges, shall we say, that she was talking about are things that I absolutely agree with. I think it's not something that you can always process. You don't always have time to process in the field. And so it's something that I do not suggest this at all, but I tend to bury it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, process it all at once and then move forward. But I do want to say that there's a book, actually a series of books, but one in particular that Lynn Johnson, who's a National Geographic photographer, who's done incredible work, she told me about. It's called Trauma Stewardship. It's incredible. It changed my life. I highly recommend reading it. And also just finding things that aren't journalism to do. I have no savings account because of this, but I ride horses. And that saves me. So being okay with having things that aren't journalism, and then also understanding where your boundaries are. Because if you are overly emotional, not that that's a bad thing, it's good, because my work, I try to put my whole heart into it and it kind of eats me. But you have to protect a little bit of it so you can keep doing the work. And that's really hard to do.
Thank you.
Oh, can I add one more thing? Sorry. I thought it was excellent that you asked about the emotional, sort of handling the emotional situations of the people that we're interviewing. And it's really important to try not to re-traumatize people when you're interviewing them. And it's incredibly difficult to do. And so it's a lot about reading people. I am really excited, actually, because the Dart Center is holding a fellowship this week about basically how not to traumatize particularly refugee children when you're documenting them and interviewing them and things like that. So I would definitely look into programs like that because it's really important and it's difficult.